Hi everyone. In this class, we are going to discuss about boundary conditions. So first, we are going to discuss about electrostatic boundary conditions. Electrostatic boundary conditions. When an electric field passes from one medium to other medium, electric field passes from one medium to other medium. It is important to study the conditions at the boundary between two media. It is important to study the boundary conditions between two media. The conditions existing at the boundary of the two media when the electric field passes from one medium to other medium is called as boundary conditions. The conditions existing at the boundary of the two media when the electric field passes from one medium to other medium are called as boundary conditions. So depending upon the nature of the media, there are two situations of the boundary conditions. Depending upon the nature of the media, there are two classifications of the boundary conditions. That are boundary between conductor and free space. Boundary between conductor and free space. And the second condition is boundary between two perfect dielectric materials. The free space is nothing but a dielectric. So free space is nothing but a dielectric. So the first boundary condition is also called as boundary between conductor and dielectric. Boundary between conductor and dielectric. For studying the boundary conditions, the Maxwell's equations for electrostatics are required. For studying boundary conditions, electrostatic boundary conditions, Maxwell's equations for electrostatics are required. So what are the Maxwell's equations for electrostatic? The closed line integral of the electric field intensity, closed line integral of the E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0. Closed line integral of electric field intensity around any closed path is equal to 0. That is one of the Maxwell equation for electrostatic, and another Maxwell equation for electrostatic is closed surface integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal to q. Gauss law for electrostatic. Gauss law for electrostatic and conservative nature of the field. So these two are the electrostatic Maxwell's equations. We can determine boundary conditions, the Maxwell's equations for electrostatics required. Similarly, the electric field intensity is required to be decomposed into two components, that is tangential to the boundary and normal to the boundary. Tangential to the boundary and normal to the boundary. So therefore, the electric field intensity is tangential to the surface and normal to the surface. Tangential means parallel to the boundary line. Normal means perpendicular to the boundary line. Similarly, the magnetic flux density is also decomposes into two components, that is tangential to the boundary and normal to the boundary. So first we are going to discuss about boundary condition between conductor and free space. Boundary conditions between conductor and free space, or boundary between conductor and dielectric. Conductor and free space is also called as conductor and dielectric. The free space is nothing but a dielectric. Consider a boundary between conductor and free space. Conductor and free space. And this is the boundary line. This is the boundary line. This boundary line is separated by two medias. So one media is conductor and another one is, and this is conducting medium, conductor medium, and this is the free space medium, and this is the boundary line. So this boundary line separated by, there are two medias, that is conductor and free space. So because of that, the name of the topic is conductor, boundary between conductor and free space. Set the boundary, some of the field components are parallel to the boundary and some of the field components are perpendicular to the boundary. So according to the properties of the conductor, within the conductor there is no electric field intensity, there is no electric flux density, that is E bar is equal to 0 and D bar is equal to 0, and there is no volume charge density, rho B is equal to 0. The charge can exist on the surface. Charge can exist on the surface to the conductor. That is, surface charge density can exist on the surface. So these are the properties of the conductors. So first determine the tangential components, the tangential component of electric field intensity and tangential component of tangential component of the electric flux density at the boundary. E bar is the electric field intensity. The direction of the electric field intensity is shown in figure. So it makes some angle with boundary. The electric field intensity makes some angle with the boundary, so which is shown in figure. The electric field intensity can be resolved into two components, that is the component tangential to the boundary and the component normal to the boundary. So we know that so the boundary conditions can be determined. Let us use closed path and gaseous surface. So can determine boundary conditions. Let us use closed rectangular path and Gaussian path. There are two Maxwell's equations for electrostatic. And what is one of the Maxwell equation for electrostatic? The line integral of the electric field intensity around any closed path is equal to 0. So because of that, consider a closed rectangular path. So the closed rectangular path can be evaluated in clockwise direction. Closed rectangular path is evaluated in clockwise direction. That is A to B, B to C, C to D, and D to A. So because of that, this closed line integral can be divided into four parts. So that is, closed line integral of E bar dot dl bar is equal, that rectangular path is evaluated into clockwise direction. So that is path A to B, path B to C, path C to D, path D to A. So because of that, closed line integral of E bar dot dl bar can be divided into four parts. So that is integral A to B E bar dot dl bar plus integral B to C E bar dot dl bar plus integral C to D E bar dot dl bar plus integral D to A E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0. Separately calculate all the four terms. After that, substitute all four terms into this equation, we get final resultant boundary expressions. So the closed path or closed contour is placed in such a way that two sides are parallel to the boundary. Path A to B and path C to D parallel to the boundary. Parallel to the boundary surface. And other two components and other two sides. So what are the other two sides? Path B to C and path D to A are normal to the surface. The rectangle is an elementary rectangle with elementary width delta W and elementary height delta H. So that rectangular path, closed rectangular path, half of the rectangular path is in free space and half of the rectangular path is in conductor. Delta H by 2 is in free space and delta H by 2 is in conductor. So now the portion C to D. So from the figure, the path C to D is within the conductor. According to the properties of the conductor, within the conductor there is no electric field intensity. Hence the corresponding integral becomes 0. So that is integral C to D E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0. So from the figure, The path C to D is within the conductor. According to properties of the conductor, inside the conductor there is no electric field intensity. Because of that, the corresponding integral becomes zero. That is integral C to D E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0. As width delta W is very small. The width delta W is very small. The path A to B is parallel to the boundary. Is parallel to the boundary. That width delta W, A to B width is delta W. That width is very small. The electric field intensity over it can be assumed to be constant. The electric field intensity over it can be assumed to be constant and hence can be taken out of the integration. Integral A to B E bar dot dl bar is equal. The electric field intensity can be considered as a constant. So that is E into integral A to B dl bar. So what is the path? What is the width of the path A to B? Delta W. So that is integral A to B dl bar is delta W. The path A to B is parallel to the tangential parallel to the boundary line. The path A to B is parallel to boundary line. So therefore, the electric field intensity is equal to tangential component of the electric field intensity. The electric field intensity E is equal tangential component of the electric field intensity. So therefore, integral A to B E bar dot dl bar is equal E tangential into delta W. Now calculate the portion or path B to C. The path B to C is parallel to the normal component. The electric field intensity can be assumed to be constant. Over the small length delta H. En can be assumed to be constants. Now the portion B to C can be evaluated. That path B to C is parallel to the normal component. So we have electric field intensity E bar is equal normal component of the electric field intensity. So now here why we consider E bar is equal to En? The path B to C is normal or perpendicular to the boundary. So because of that, the electric field intensity is equal to normal component of the electric field intensity. The electric field intensity can be assumed to be constant over the small height delta H. So integral B to C E bar dot dl bar is equal E into integral B to C dl. The path B to C is normal to the boundary. Because of that, the electric field intensity E bar is equal normal component of the electric field intensity En into integral B to C dl bar. The path B to C, that half of the rectangular path is in free space and remaining half is in conductor. Half of the rectangular path is in free space and remaining half is in conductor. So from the figure, this is the figure and this is the boundary line. This is considered as point 1, this is considered as point 2. So B22 is in free space and 22C is in conductor. According to properties of the conductor, within the conductor, electric field intensity is 0. So now here 22C, path 22C is in within the conductor. Integral 2 to C, that integral becomes 0. What is the height of the B to C? Delta H. The height B22 height is delta H by 2 and 2 to C height is delta H by 2. Therefore, integral B to C E bar dot dl bar is equal normal component of the electric field intensity into B22 dl bar plus normal component of the electric field intensity 2 to C. The path 2 to C is within the conductor. There is no electric field intensity inside the conductor. So that is second term is 0. second term is 0. So therefore En into what is the height of the B2 to delta h by 2? That B2 to is in free space. What is that height? B2 to delta h by 2. En into delta h by 2. So now similarly calculate the path D to E. The path D to E is same as that of path B to C, but in opposite direction. So therefore, integral D to A E border dl bar is equal minus En delta h by 2. Path D to A is same as path B to C, but in opposite direction. So integral d to a e border dl bar is equal minus En delta h by 2. Substitute all the integrals into closed line integral of e border dl bar is equal to 0 expression. We have E tangential delta w. Path A to B is E tangential delta w plus path B to C is En delta h by 2 plus path C to D value is 0 plus path D to A is minus En delta h by 2. So we have En delta h by 2 minus En delta h by 2 is cancelled. The remaining expression is E tangential delta W is equal to 0. So E tangential is equal 0 by delta W. 0 by delta W, 0. So E tangential is equal to 0. Therefore, the tangential component of the electric field intensity is 0 at the boundary between conductor and free space. At the boundary between conductor and free space, the tangential component of the electric field intensity is 0. Next, calculate tangential component of the electric flux density. But we know that the relationship between electric field intensity and electric flux density is d bar is equal to epsilon naught into E bar. E bar into d bar is equal to epsilon naught into E bar. So what is the magnitude of the electric field intensity and electric flux density? D is equal to epsilon naught into E bar. So tangential component of the electric flux density is equal to epsilon naught into tangential component of the electric field intensity. So what is the tangential component of the electric field intensity at the boundary between conductor and free space? 0. So applying that condition into here, the tangential component of the electric flux density is also 0 at the boundary between conductor and free space. Hence, the electric field intensity and electric flux density can exist only in the perpendicular to the boundary, normal to the surface, normal to the boundary line. Next, calculate the normal component of the electric field intensity and electric flux density at the boundary. So now consider to determine normal component of the electric flux density, select a closed Gaussian surface in the form of right circular cylinder shown in figure. So from the figure, consider Gaussian path. Is in the form of the right circular cylinder. That Gaussian cylinder height is delta h, and half of the Gaussian cylinder is in free space and remaining half is in conductor. Delta h by 2 is in free space and remaining delta h by 2 is in conductor. So according to the properties of the conductor, inside the conductor there is no electric flux density. Inside the conductor there is no electric flux density. According to Gauss law, closed surface integral of d border ds bar is equal to q. Now here consider the Gaussian surface. That closed Gaussian surface can be evaluated into three parts. That is top of the cylinder, bottom of the cylinder and side of the cylinder. So the closed surface integral of d border ds bar can be divided into two parts. So that is top integral of d border ds bar plus bottom integral of d border ds bar plus side integral or lateral integral of d border ds bar is equal to q. The top of the surface and bottom of the surface is same, that is delta s. Top of the Gaussian surface and bottom of the Gaussian surface area is same, that is delta S. The bottom of the surface, the bottom of the Gaussian surface is inside the conductor. Inside the conductor there is no electric flux density. So because of that, the bottom surface integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal to 0. The lateral surface area is 2 pi r into delta h, where r is the radius of the cylinder. But delta h tends to 0, this area reduces to 0. Area reduces to 0. And cylinder, this is the cylinder, and lateral surface area is 2 pi r into delta h. R is the radius of the cylinder. As delta h2 tends to 0, delta h2 tends to 0 means reducing the height of the cylinder. So the lateral side of the electric flux density integral is also 0. The lateral surface integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal to 0. And what is the remaining term? Top of the surface. Top of the surface. Electric flux density is present in normal component. Electric flux density is only present in normal component. So the top of the surface is very small. Top of the surface area is very small. So over which the normal component of the electric flux density can be assumed to be constant. And hence the integration, the top integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal. That can be considered as a constant. So normal component of the electric flux density into top of the ds. What is the surface area of the top of the Gaussian surface? Delta s. dn into delta s. And substitute all the integrals. What are all the integrals? Top of the surface value, bottom of the surface value, and lateral or side of the surface value into Gauss law statement. What is the Gauss law statement? Closure surface integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal to q expression. So what is the top value? dn into delta s. And what is the bottom value? 0. And what is the lateral value? 0. So therefore dn into delta s is equal to q. Delta s is coming to the RHS side. We have the normal component of the electric flux density is q by delta s. So total charge to the surface area is called as surface charge density. Q by delta S is surface charge density. So therefore dn is equal to rho s. The normal component of the electric flux density is equal to the surface charge density. At the boundary, the charge can exist in the form of the surface charge density. The charge at the boundary between conductor and space on the boundary at the surface of the conductor at the boundary line, the charge can exist only in the form of the surface charge density, that is rho s coulombs per meter square. Next, calculate normal component of the electric field intensity. So using the relation d bar is equal to epsilon naught into E bar, from that equation the normal component of the electric field intensity En is equal rho s by epsilon naught. Rho s by epsilon naught.